Hey guys, Eric Hausman here with Fire and Ice Outdoors. Beautiful day we have here in central Indiana. A couple things I wanted to go over with today is fishing rods and reels. A lot of people have got questions, and I've heard this a lot. I've done some retail work for some big box stores, and a lot of people came in with questions about Baitcasters and open-faced reels, and I just kind of want to go over a couple of differences between them. There are actually 3 or 4 different styles of rods and reels out there today. The 2 basic examples of those are going to be the Baitcaster, which I have right here in my hand, and I also have a spin cast reel that we have right here, or an open face is also what it's known as. There's 2 other ones that you hear quite a bit used, and that's kind of like, not to drop a name, but Zebco 33 has got like an enclosed bait cast style reel that, or what you'll see on like the Snoopy poles or something like that are all enclosed. Those are great for somebody who's starting out really young. Not as effective for somebody who's a little bit older, or for somebody who's, you know, elderly. Would be a good, maybe a good pick for them also. One of the other things that you hear a lot too is the other type of reel that there is out there, and that's a fly fishing reel. Those are basically fly specific in a specific type of style of fishing. So we're not going to go over those today, but we're going to go over a bait caster, and we're going to go over an open-faced reel or a spin reel. Starting with a spin reel, what's really nice about the spin reel is it's extremely easy to use. There's only a couple of different things that you've got to do, and that is just to kind of go over some of the parts of the reel. Is you have the reel handle itself, you have the bail itself, and then you've got your pole, whatever size rod and reel that you decide you want to use. I've got this actually with some fire line on it, and I don't know the exact size of it because I forgot. But the proper use of it, you also forgot one little item too, is you have your adjustable drag that's right here on the front. What a drag does is, as the fish pulls, it will actually kind of give a little bit of line, so you're not putting so much tension on the line that you'll break it. So that's adjustable right there, and the harder you crank down on it, the harder it is to pull the line out. So if you had a shark on here, you would have it crank down really hard. If you had a bass pull down, you want to just, basically what I shoot for when I'm pulling drag on a bait caster or on an open face is when I can pull it with my hand, I know it's set right. That's kind of my rule. And I fish in bass tournaments and stayed out there on the trail for a while, so that's kind of how I did it when I was there. This right now I've got with a soft jerk bait on top of it, rigged a little different, as my son was using it last time we fished. So that's how this is rigged. But basically a bait cast reel usage is you flip the bail, you cast your rod, and then you use the handle and you can crank it. Now the one nice thing about spin reels like this is if I want the reel on my left hand side, I can place it on the left hand side. If I want my reel on the right hand side, then all I've got to do is unscrew a plug that's on this side, and it's actually threaded. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'll hold it up to the camera here in a second. It's threaded like a screw, and what that does is that actually goes in that end of the reel, or the handle, and if you need to switch sides, if you're more comfortable reeling one way or the other, then what you can do is you can switch sides, screw that back in, and it'll attach that way. Obviously, if you don't have the screw in it, it's going to fall out. So that's why you need that screw in there. I like to reel left-handed. Some people think that's crazy. It's just how comfortable I am with it, and that's okay. It's about your comfort and about your enjoyment. So I'm going to put that back together here real quickly, and then we're going to move on to the bait caster. I recommend a good quality reel when we're doing this. You know, there are reels out there that you can get for 10 or 15 bucks at the big box stores, and that's okay. I mean, they work for a while, but they don't have the ball bearings. This one right here has got quite a few ball bearings in it. It's actually got, I believe, 8 or 10 ball bearings in this one. So the more ball bearings, the better you're going to have the movement of the machine inside here. There's a bunch of gears that work this. So the more ball bearings, the smoother it should be. All right, gonna go switch off to the bait caster right now. Now, I know I said I like left-handed reeling on that one. I do, but on this rod and reel combo, I like to reel with my right hand. I know I'm kind of weird that way. It's kind of an odd thing, but that's what I do. The difference is this between a bait caster and a spin cast is you have a spool that's in here that you've got your line on, okay? And what happens is there are magnets and different tensioning devices that are inside these reels that you adjust the tension to it, and then you cast it. The biggest problem that I hear from people is, Eric, when I cast my reel, I get a backlash. Well, a backlash is not a good thing. You don't want one of those. And what that is when you cast it and this thing gets going too fast and you get some string that popped up. Now that's not a bad backlash, I just did that. The best way to fix that is to put tension on the spool and pull it out by hand and keep working it until you get to where everything's nice and smooth and tight again, and then you can crank that back down. Again, the biggest differences are you're actually going to have a button here that you're going to push down. That's going to release this spool to move. It re-engages when you crank the handle. Now, the drag system, if you remember on the front of the spin reel, was up here in the front of it. Well, with a Baitcaster, it's not. It's actually this star-shaped portion right here. And so as you crank that up or down, that again tightens or loosens that spool. And again, remember my rule of thumb is if I can pull it out by hand, real nice and easy, then that means that that's probably a pretty good tension to have everything set at. Right now I've got a bait wrapped around my end here, so my bait's not wrapping down or moving down as I want it to. Some of them also have like magnetic settings on the side that I have like right here, and I can adjust these to fine-tune this reel. The way to start out with this, and I'm not sure that you can see this or not, is when I push this, if I let off my thumb and the bait doesn't drop, then I know that I have it set too tight on my Baitcaster. So I adjust the tension on that spool, and when that bait drops pretty easy and freely, not fast, but just kind of drops, then that means I've got it set correctly. And here, if I can show you just kind of right here, is I can drop it, and that's the way it'll work. All right, so now that I've got that set up the way I want it to, you push the button, and I'm going to do a little flip just because I don't want to cast across the backyard here. But I take it and I cast, and notice that I didn't get any backlash on it. That's because I've done it a little bit. It just takes practice. I recommend practicing in the backyard. Once you get your spool and line set up, then you can figure out how to make those long casts. One of the biggest problems that people run into when they decide whether they're going to go to a Baitcaster or not is, one, they buy an El Cheapo Baitcaster, and there's a market for those, and I understand that. I did the same thing when I started. I bought something that was the $30 or $40 mark instead of buying something that was closer to the $100 mark. Now, average Joe fisherman, maybe you can't afford that and you need to start out with a smaller one. I would recommend maybe getting on Craigslist or eBay or something like that. Find a good used one, but get one with more ball bearings. The more ball bearings you get in them, the better they're going to respond. So what I found the biggest problem is one, you get a used one, or I'm sorry, you get one that's a little cheaply made, and we think, okay, I'll start off with this. Well, what happens is you get a product that's not as good a quality. So you take it, you make the cast with it, and when you cast it, you try to cast it too hard, too far, too fast. And what happens is you get that backlash. Then people say, well, forget it, I'm done, I can't do this. It takes practice. So you just take it nice and easy on the cast, keep your thumb right on the spool while you're doing that, and you can break it. If you see it's going to hit a tree or something, stop it before it hits it. Because if this bait stops moving, there's still motion in this spool, and it's going to spin really fast, and that's what causes the line to come up. So those are a couple little quick tips today that I wanted to give you. FireandIce.com is our website. We sell custom turkey calls, and also going to start getting into some other game calls and different products along that lines. We've also kind of expanded. We're not just turkey calls anymore. We're Fire and Ice Outdoors, and what we're doing is we're working on a web series that we're going to start doing a 30-minute program that we're going to try to get out there in the market, do some hunting and fishing and outdoor recreation type of events, from whitewater rafting to mountain biking. We're also going to be hopefully using wounded warriors, folks who are fire, police, EMS that have been injured in the line of duty. We've also got some kids with some disabilities and illnesses that are going to want to get out in the woods too, and that's what we're going to be working on. We do have a Kickstarter program right now. If you're not familiar with that, it's Kickstarter.com, and you can go to Fire and Ice Outdoors on that. And what that'll do is it'll give you the opportunity to get a part of this program with us to hopefully raise the funds we need to do this. But if not, we're going to be seeing a lot of things here on YouTube and placing a lot of videos here on YouTube to give you some great outdoor tips, some fantastic hunting adventures that we're going to have, fantastic outdoor adventures we're going to have,